It did not work. You just weren't. Hey guys, it's your girl Imani Samone, aka Muscle Mani, and you're watching Disney Channel. Okay guys, let's talk about why them glutes ain't growing, babes. So I'm gonna be talking about 3 simple reasons why your glutes are not growing. I know for us ladies, the biggest thing we're trying to do in the gym is grow our legs, grow our glutes, and sometimes it doesn't come easily for the next person. And whether that's because you're a beginner, whether that's because you've been doing it for a while and something's just not adding up anymore, we're gonna talk about some of those things today. Just for a personal backstory, I kind of technically started my fitness journey when I was like 15, so about 10-ish years ago, and I've been on and off over the years, but in December 2023, that's when I started again and when it stuck. So I've been kind of lifting consistently more or less for about a little over a year, and I feel like I've had some pretty decent results, and that's why I want to sit here and talk to you guys about why you might be having issues growing your glutes. So the first reason why your glutes are probably not growing is because you're not eating enough. Now I know we've heard this before, blah blah blah, but I really need you to just hear me out for a second, because while there's a lot of noise on the internet and it's a lot of people saying the same thing, sometimes A, it takes hearing it 101 times to really maybe get it, or B, sometimes it takes someone else framing it in a way that it just clicks for you after all that, you know? So there's probably a lot of us out there that while we want to grow our glutes, we also want to lose some fat, maybe throughout our body, maybe one spot, maybe 2 spots. And a lot of you may think that just because you want to lose fat, that means you need to be in a deficit for like this long periodically time, right? Now, while you're not wrong in being in a deficit to lose fat, I feel like the biggest problem that a lot of people face when it comes to deficits is 2 things. A, being in a deficit for too long, or B, being in too aggressive of a deficit. But ultimately, both of those conditions leave you in a predicament where your glutes are not going to grow, or any other muscle you're trying to grow, they can't grow in those conditions. Now, I want to add that being in a deficit and putting on muscle, like building fat, losing muscle, is not impossible, especially if you're a beginner. But as I said, if you've been in a deficit for a long time, or you're in a crazy deficit, that could be your issue, and you need to tweak that. So all of our body needs are different, all of our calorie needs are different based off not only our bodies, genetics, but also just our activity level. And so while one set number is not going to work for person A and person B, even though they may have similar goals, what I can say is one thing you shouldn't be doing is eating 1,200 calories or less. Like the whole 1,000 calorie thing, trust me, I have been there. But do not, I repeat, do not. First of all, just don't eat that little anyway, A. B, don't be eating at that level and think that you're still going to be able to build muscle. It's just not enough fuel. And as someone who's in the gym trying to build muscle, but is also in that aggressive of a deficit, I promise you, that's not optimal. You're not going to do anything with that, because I can tell you, if you're already in the gym, 1,000 calories is immediately not enough. Whatever you're doing in the gym, I promise you 1,000 calories is not enough to fuel you on a daily basis. It's just not. So with that said, there's a little calorie calculator website that I like to use, or that I've used in the past when trying to get the ideal amount of calories that I should be eating based on my goals. I'll put it up here. You want to put first your age, height, weight, all that good stuff, and then you want to be realistic with your activity level, because that's going to help generate a number for you. And then you want to take the number that it gives you and go from there. This is just really a guesstimate though. Everything is estimated. All right. So if you take this and you eat at this amount and you feel like nothing's happening, you feel like you're not gaining weight, you feel like maybe you're too tired, things like that, you may have to add or subtract as necessary. A lot of your fitness journey is just really going to be, I don't even want to say a guessing game, but a lot of it is just a learning process where you really have to be patient with yourself and with your body, and just take the time to understand and learn what it needs, what it doesn't like, and what is optimal for building muscle for you, cutting fat, whatever the situation is. But bottom line is, you're probably not eating enough, or you've not been eating enough for a long time, if that makes sense. The next reason why your glutes are probably not growing is because you're not training hard enough / consistent enough with said training. If you haven't seen my last video, I'll link it up here, where I talked about different things you should avoid as a beginner in the gym. One of the things I did mention was training aggressively hard. While that is still true, I assume that you're watching this video because you're not maybe someone who's day one in the gym and you've been working, you've been doing stuff, and you're not seeing results. So as someone who's been in the gym for a little bit, even for a couple months, etc., you need to be kind of maybe kicking certain things up a notch. And what I mean mean by that? It's really just all about progressive overload. Like, don't go in the gym, do the same thing. You're consistent in what you do, but you're like consistent in the fact that you're not adjusting it, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying go to the gym and every leg day hit a different influencer workout. Like, no, you want to pick different exercises that work for you, stick to that plan, be consistent in that. The only thing that should be variable in that is the amount of weight you're using, so increasing it steadily, or the reps you're doing, increasing that steadily, aka progressive overload. And you can do that by increasing the weight, you can do that by increasing reps. But the name of the game is just be consistent, but don't be consistent in the fact that you're just going through the motions in your training. Oh my gosh, it's about to die. Where's my charger? Now that my camera is charging. Okay, so yeah, like I said, you want to be consistent in your training in the sense that you keep showing up, but you don't want to be too consistent in that you're not progressive overloading. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, you don't want to keep showing up and then just going through the motions. Working out shouldn't necessarily be comfortable if your goal is to see change and to put on muscle. Things should start to get a little uncomfortable after a while. That's the name of the game. If you're doing your, let's say we're talking about hip thrust, and for the past couple of weeks you're doing a weight and it's super easy, and you just realize, oh shoot, like this has gotten really easy, but I'm still gonna do the same weight. You're not gonna grow your butt that way. Your glutes are just not gonna grow because you're not giving your body new stimulus. Even though that weight may have been heavy at one point, if it's now feeling easy, it's time to go up. That's the whole point. Your body got used to that weight. The muscles have broken down and have adapted and grew according to the stimulus that you were giving it. So now you gotta up it a little bit. You gotta do an extra rep or two. You gotta do an extra 5 or 10 pounds. You know what I mean? Just based on what you're able to do. That's gonna be how you see results. Progressive overload, progressive overload, progressive overload. If you didn't take anything else from any other video about growing muscle, the main thing is, are you progressively overloading? Because if you're not doing that, your muscles are not gonna grow. Now, this is kind of under the same kind of token, or maybe this is just the next point, but let's say you are progressively overloading, you're doing all the things, right? Maybe your glutes aren't growing because you're not consistent enough. I want you to ask yourself this. Are you being consistent? Have you been consistent? Do you have a routine that you stick to consistently, with the only variable being an increase in weight, increase in rep, or maybe changing 1 or 2 exercises, maybe because that machine wasn't available this day, or your back was hurting so you couldn't do that RDL? You know what I mean? Like, is everything else consistent? You need to honestly step back and ask yourself that. Now, I don't mean you did this maybe 2-3 times a week for a month and you didn't see results so you quit. Like, no. Now, granted, if you're a beginner in the gym, you will probably see results maybe within a month a little quickly. It's called newbie gains, but doing something for a month and then quitting, it was not you being consistent. Being consistent is doing stuff over a long period of time. What a lot of people end up messing up in their fitness journey is that they end up adapting to something that's not sustainable for them, and then they quit, and then they say that it didn't work. It did not work. You just weren't consistent. Because you could have been doing everything right. Maybe you just needed that extra week or 2 for your body to catch on and be like, okay, boom, results. Like, especially when it comes to sculpting your body and just growing muscle and stuff like that, that is a precious journey that takes time. Like, yes, there are certain ways or certain things that can happen that would allow you to see results quicker, but at the end of the day, you really just have to fall in love with the process, and that comes with being consistent. That means showing up when you don't feel like going to the gym. That means sticking to that routine even when it feels like a little mundane. I'm not saying you can't ever change out your exercises and things like that, but at the end of the day, you need to be following some type of structured routine or program. And I'm not, disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not certified in any of this stuff. Again, I'm just kind of speaking on experience and like kind of more or less my 10 years of my own research and just my own experience with my body. Like I said, you don't want to be doing stuff for a month and just be like, oh, it doesn't work. I would do something at least for 3 months before I'd be like, ooh, I don't know now. Like, you know what I'm saying? You want to just really give your body time to adapt and change. And like I said, you have to fall in love with the process, and you can't get there if you're not being consistent. So if you feel like your booty won't grow, let's be honest with ourselves. Were we being consistent? Were we truly being consistent? If not, hop back on that saddle, get to it. You feel me? My final simple reason as to why your glutes are not growing, you're not recovering enough. Now, recovery can be broken down into 2 parts. 1, your sleep, and 2, your incorporation of rest days in between muscle groups. I feel like if you're a beginner in the gym, one of the most rookiest kind of thoughts or mistakes, whatever you want to call it, you can have is feeling like, okay, I want my booty to grow, so I'm gonna train it every day. No, you can't do that. You can't. Now let's break each of these down. Let's talk about our sleep. You could be doing everything right. You may have been listening to this video and like, Imani, like, I'm doing all that. I'm on it. I've been progressively overloading. I am eating enough. I'm eating a great amount. I feel very fueled throughout the day. Are you sleeping? What does your sleep schedule look like? Do you get consistently 4 to 5 hours of sleep on a daily? That's what you need to adjust, because you could be doing everything right. You could be eating properly. You could be consistent. You could be progressively overloading. But I promise you, if you are not sleeping, babe, that could be why you're not seeing results. I feel like as a race, by race, I mean human race, we undermine just how, like, sleep is slept on. Our society is so big on the grind culture. Oh, work never stops. I can sleep when I'm dead. No. Because if you're trying to grow that booty, babe, you gotta sleep. Okay, you have to get that proper sleep in. Now, the amount of sleep that each person needs, I believe, varies, but I feel like it's anywhere between 7 and 9 hours as a good general basis. So if you are sleeping way under that, and not just like one time here and there, I'm talking about you consistently only get 3 to 4 hours of sleep for whatever reason, that could be why you're not seeing results. So I want you to start sleeping better, whether it's making sure you're not taking caffeine late at night. And like, that was something that I kind of struggled with because I'm a late night gym goer and I would still take my pre-workout late at night. I've been trying to be better with that. So if anything, maybe get you a pre-workout that's non-stem so that when you go home, you can still go to sleep and you won't be up at 3 a.m. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'll be up 3, 4, 5, 8. Ooh, maybe not 5. I'll be up super late. And I feel like lately it's really been messing me up as far as trying to see the results that I'm looking for currently. And I feel like it's always been something I kind of have been struggling with like for a while, but it's something I am aware of and I try to fix somewhat. But yeah, at the end of the day, let's make sure we're properly sleeping so that our butts can properly recover. Quite literally. And to the second part of recovery, rest days. Let's talk about rest days. Again, you don't want to train the same thing every day. I know you want that booty fat, but I promise you, you training it every day is not going to get you there quicker. If anything, not only does it not get you there quicker, it will slow things down, aka you'll start kind of killing those gains. And so basically what that is when you're building muscle, you're breaking down the muscle. Like, you're basically creating little tears in the muscle, and it recovers, it's fixing itself up, it becomes bigger, whatever. And it's like with sleep, that whole thing when the muscles are fixing themselves, they can't do that if you're not sleeping. Our bodies heal and recover through sleep. God created sleep for a reason, because we need it. Even God rested. You need to rest, babe. The same thing can happen as far as like rest days. Say you're sleeping, yes, but you're training every day. If you're training every day, how's your body really gonna recover? If you're beating down that butt muscle continuously, those booty muscles consistently, how is it ever gonna really repair itself if you're constantly training it? So I know a lot of women don't really want to train their upper body and stuff like that, but when you're not training legs, train your upper body. Do active rest day, walk, stretch, do something else. Me personally, if you want kind of something to go by, I train legs every 3 days. So not every other day, but I have 2 days in between. It just depends on what's going on. But say like Thursday, I just train legs Thursday, right? So I didn't train them yesterday, I didn't train them today. Ideally, Sunday or tomorrow would be like my next day. You know what I mean? Everyone's splits are different. You can set up your splits differently, but whether you train upper body or not, and I'll make that a separate video as to why as women we should still train our upper body, but whether or not you do that, you don't need to be training legs every day. That's basically the point I'm trying to make here. All right, and those are reasons why your glutes may not be growing. If you guys want a little bit more information, definitely leave a comment down below. I would be happy to talk about it a little more with you. But other than that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want more videos like this. Like the video if you enjoyed it, or if you found it helpful in any way, as it also helps my channel. And like I said, if you want to ask any more questions or things like that, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.